What up? Welcome. Golden Era League Update number 1, October 24th through November 11th. Let's jump right in. We'll start with the Golden State Warriors up and down through their first 9 games, 6-3 record that includes that opening tough night loss to the Indiana Pacers. The starters have looked good for Golden State thus far. Their big three has done exactly what many expected of them. However, the bench just has not. Keon Granger was 0 for 6 from 3 on opening night. Jaheim Briggs, he's been mediocre. He's been inconsistent. This is a team that's really gone all in on a young depth piece, and so far it just really hasn't worked out for them. Their stars have been good, but there is an issue on the horizon if any one of them gets hurt or plays poorly. Let's move to the Western Conference, where the Thunder have been phenomenal. They've started off 7-2, being carried by Tobias, including an impressive 139-114 win over the Suns most recently on the road. They lost on opening night to the Lakers by 9, 110-101. Since then, Tobias has scored 30-plus points in every single game, including 4 40-point games, as he sits atop the league leading for scores. The Thunder have the league's best defense at 101.3 points against per game. It's really a defensive unit that is powered offensively by Tobias. We talked about the Lakers. They've been off to a good start. They sit atop the Western Conference with a 7-1 start thanks to Kareem Robinson. And the Kings, they were the big winners of the offseason in the Western Conference, adding Jason Sanders. They sit at 5-4, still kind of putting things together behind their new star duo of Jason Sanders and Tyrese Alston. Head to the Eastern Conference, where the Pacers had a statement on opening night when they took down Golden State on the road, spoiling that ring ceremony. They've since looked phenomenal. 8-1, they've got the best offense in the NBA, 128.3 points, point differential of 16.4. CJ McCoy has proven anybody wrong. He's been the top guy, averaging 30 points and 7 assists. Meanwhile, Nico Harrington, a surprise number 2 scorer, career high 22.6. For a team that is likely the deepest in the league, with CJ McCoy, Nico Harrington, Ibrahim Mobley, Jace Redding, Caden Dickerson, and their big man J.K. Foye, all 40+% shooters from beyond the arc. They are without Dickerson, who we'll get to with an injury. Chicago, they appear to be making that leap behind Javon Stokes and Dakota Motley. Stokes, 34 points, 9 assists. He's got the second best PER in the league, 32.1, behind only Ja Morant. They've got the second best offense and the second best point differential behind only the Indiana Pacers. Meanwhile, Dakota Motley averaging 24.7 points per game. But a worthy question, Javon Stokes, 6.4 guard, entered as a 2 guard. He's playing the 2. Should he be moved to point guard, where they could free up, maybe use Rowan Jameson, a good point guard who they got a couple seasons ago in the top 10? Could they move Jameson for another wing that would allow Motley to slide to the shooting guard position? He's slightly undersized for the modern day NBA, 6'6". This is a league that's just massive wings throughout. You look at, especially in the Western Conference, Jason Sanders, Jacoby Cleaves, Deontay Dixon, Jonathan Kuminga, Malik Hightower, Dakota Motley, definitely among the smaller players at his position. And then lastly, the Nets, 7-3, but the injury bug is back. Louis Morgan, he's out for 4 to 6 weeks with a knee injury. Memphis Reed is out 6 to 8 months, though the team has not ruled him out for the season with a torn patella tendon. Some big games. Desmond Cooper, for the second straight season, becomes the first player in the NBA to hit 50 points. He does so against his most recent former team, the Dallas Mavericks, on October 27th. However, the Hawks lost 130-125. Bryton Reed, he's been asked to carry the offensive load for the Nets now that Morgan and brother Memphis Reed are out. No problem to do that. 50 points in a 116-104 win over the Wizards. Those are our 2 50-point scores. A couple other big games, though, with Bees Ojale. Need some help in Minnesota. Goes 38-11-10 against the Blazers. However, they lose that one 141-140. Pelicans, many expected them to try to make the leap. They made that all-in move to try to get Shane Ruffin, or rather an impressive, try to improve move to get Shane Ruffin. They have not been doing so well. The supporting cast has not been doing so well. Ty Outlaw has been. He had a 49-point outburst against the Kings. However, Sacramento takes that one 134-108. I'd expect to see a lot of big games from the Sixers, or rather hung on the Sixers. Javon Stokes is the first to do it. He goes for 42, 11, and 9 as Chicago beats Philadelphia 125-88. And then the reigning NBA MVP, Jacoby Cleaves. While the Suns have not been rolling, he is. He has a 47, 7, and 10 against the Hawks as Phoenix won 130-106. Move to our league leaders, Tobias Bell, roaring out the gates, 36.7 points per game. Have to imagine that Thunder Pacers trade looks like an all-time win-win. Both teams sit atop the standings, and both Bell and McCoy averaging 30-plus points per game in the top 5. Rashawn Matthews, our reigning league leader in rebounding, once again sits atop the league leaders for boards, up over 16. Kareem Robinson carrying that one-loss Lakers squad. He's got 11.1 assists through 9 games. Noteworthy, we talked about it in the team preview, Luka Doncic fitting in perfectly next to Dwayne Qualls as a playmaker. He's been a little cold to start off scoring, but his playmaking duties continue. He's up over 9 assists per game. Kings might have the best guard-big defensive duo, Tyrese Alston leading the league in steals in front of reigning Defensive Player of the Year, R.J. Wallace, and then Dwayne Qualls second there, and that goes to that pairing of Luka and Qualls that's so deep. Doncic brings that elite playmaking, that elite scoring. Dwayne Qualls can handle the toughest defensive guard assignments here, as he's been doing that so far. And then lastly, our league leader in blocks, Cameron Sullivan, fitting in nicely as the anchor of the 5-3 Heat's defense, leading the league in blocks, but just ahead of the Defensive Player of the Year from a year ago, Wallace, Matthews, and Cameron Mercer, who in year 3 for the Lakers, coming into his own on the defensive end. Some notable injuries. We talked about the Nets' disastrous start. Those are, from a health perspective, those are really the only injuries thus far through 9 games that are expected to sideline anyone for an extended period of time, though Jalen Justice has missed the last couple games as the Raptors have struggled out the gate with back tightness. He did miss a month last season with a lower back strain, so worth keeping an eye on moving forward. Spurs' new point guard, Sidney Cross, he's going to be out with a pulled calf, but should return soon, according to the team. Meanwhile, the Thunder's Noja Sosnowskis will be out 1 to 2 weeks with a back spasms. That's a tough blow for their defense, and a big test here for Tobias Bell early on to carry the surprise Thunder. You want to talk about the depth of the Pacers. They can survive just about anything, and Nico Harrington has certainly arrived and filled in for the injured Caden Dickerson, who's missed the last handful of games with a twisted knee, but is expected back soon. So what's ahead here on the channel? Coming up tomorrow, the Golden Era podcast dropping. That'll be our first podcast of the season. Then we've got 2 nationally broadcast games. First one coming up, that'll be Javon Roll and the Warriors traveling to South Beach to face off against the new look Miami Heat. And then coming up, the Suns will play host to the Los Angeles Lakers. Jacoby Cleaves, Cade Cunningham, Malik Hightower going against Kareem Robinson, D'Angelo Ion, and Cameron Mercer. Coming up next is the Golden Era podcast. Stay tuned for all that. Thanks for tuning in.